And here's your host, Okay Bakassi.
Yeah, welcome to The Other News, the show that presents the news to you like hot gossip. Let me tell you something. My guest today is an actor, rapper, songwriter, and one of the hottest names in the entertainment industry right now. His most recent release has drawn praise from people all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Falz The Bahd Guy in the building! Yes, Folari Falana, a.k.a. Falz The Bahd Guy. And a little later on the show, our correspondent, Dan D Humorous, will help us catch some childhood nostalgia. But first, it's the other news headlines, as always. Former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Jega, has accused Nigeria's federal legislators of having a culture of demanding bribes. Well, denying Professor Jega's allegations, some of the legislators said, Jega, we will not take it. We will not take it, unless it is in $100 bills stuffed in Ghana Moscow bags or wired to an account that the EFCC cannot trace. Well, still on the National Assembly. This time, Dino, who jumped out of a moving police vehicle and hurt his legs. I hope he won't hurt himself if and when he jumps out of the APC. Well, it sure depends on how fast the APC party is moving, if at all. Embattled Kogi State Senator Dino Melaye resumed at Senate plenary yesterday and sat not with his party, the APC, but with the opposition PDP. Wow. Speaking of presidents telling their citizens to do this or do that, President Buhari has urged the Nigerian national football team, the Super Eagles, to bring the World Cup home. To which the Super Eagles asked, no vexo, but home as in Abuja, Abi, London. Well, May 29th was Democracy Day in Nigeria, and there were the usual speeches.
Commemoration of this year's Democracy Day is a celebration of freedom, a salute to the resilience and determination of Nigerians.
Big promises.
Nigerians from all parts of the country continue to report better power supply and less use of generators.
And some very bitter responses and rebuttals. But it is normal. After all, what is democracy if not the freedom to disagree and express yourself in peaceful and sometimes not so peaceful ways? The Nigerian brand of democracy is special. So special, in fact, that it seems to be a concoction of many other types of government. Sometimes it feels like monarchy. Some of these leaders want to hand over power to their children and family members like it's a piece of land. As if the rest of us will be looking at them like statues. Come and try it now, let us see. Anyway, sometimes Nigerian democracy feels like gerontocracy. That is a government headed by and contested for by old people. Yeah, it's as if our heroes past are still present in the corridors of power. Go and rest now, Mban. Well, if some of us are not too young to run, then these grandpas are not too old to sit tight. Or do you think it's young people who invented the phrase, we die here? I never see anything. And sometimes, too many times, in fact, Nigerians feel like it is still a dictatorship. Democracy is supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But this our own seems to be a government of the people, by these people, and for which people? Also them. For Nigeria to achieve this democracy that we have today, many citizens, ordinary people like you and I, paid heavy price. People protested and fought the dictators. Some were exiled, some were beaten, arrested, thrown in prison, and even killed. We are still paying for our democracy. But thankfully, we are paying mostly in cash these days. Democracy has given us a precious gift. the right to vote. Although we prefer to use the right not to vote, but complain up and down. Democracy gives politicians the right to be voted for, but those ones prefer the right to rig and the right to make election materials disappear and funny results appear. Well, is this the democracy that the founding fathers wanted for their country? Is this the sort of democracy that the pro-democracy activists and martyrs sacrificed their all for? Well, in his inaugural speech as Democratic President on May 29, 1999, President Obasanjo said, "Democracy is good for us." 16 years later, in that same Eagle Square, President Buhari, in his inaugural address, told us that he would belong to everybody and to nobody. It is about time that our leaders start to prove to us, in concrete ways, why democracy is good for us, for all of us. And I don't mean by spraying money, although if they spray, I might take. Yes, let us get to the point where all Nigerians can be truly happy on Democracy Day. But until then, we'll continue to look at the political mess that we are in and, scratch our heads and ask, Democracy Day? He is a dynamic rapper, a comedian, an actor, an all-round entertainer whose creativity is almost boundless. Tonight, he's our guest. Please join me in giving a big welcome to Falz The Bahd Guy! All right, people! Yay! Wow! You see, you can feel the excitement here.
In fact, so much excitement.
All right, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Lawyer, actor, artist, everything. Is it that we feel compelled by to be several things as a result of insecurity or the abundance of talent and ability? Which one is it?
I think the latter may just be the case. Thankfully to the Almighty, I'm able to have everything inside one body. So I believe that every now and then, at least, one need to multitask.
Yes.
I guess if I'm doing something today, I can still dive into another realm.
Because we find ourselves in a country where to do one thing alone is not enough. It may not just be enough.
Yes, of course.
Yes, because sometimes there are too many bills to pay,
Of
and
course.
the resources are
Thank
very
you so
big.
much. Yeah. Generally, there's a popular saying that it's not only one road that leads to market.
Yes. You're a traditional African. Okay, now this whole concept of sounding like a half illiterate man from the Western Nigeria, what is it about this concept? Communication.
Generally, I didn't want to be proud. I get it. I didn't want people to. No, normally, because if people saw me now, they think I'm racist shoulder. Because I'm not somebody that do defecate or release feces. I'm serious now. If maybe through by accident now, if I pollute the hair, you smell like pineapple or lavender or something like this.
So let's just say it's working for you right now. But you see, the amazing thing is that we live in a world that is full of double standards.
Yes.
Now, people who normally sound like this in the society, people look at them and laugh at them like people who are half-baked, like they make jest of them, in fact, sometimes. But here you are doing the same thing, and people are loving you for it. In fact, some say he's so down to earth, he makes him relatable and approachable, So why in reality, they don't really send people where they talk like this, but they love you for doing the same thing. How come?
I think maybe because it's, maybe people, they do observe that it's just matter of humorous stuff. At least just for entertainment purpose. Yeah, so at least they didn't look down on me. But
so they know that deep down he's actually posh. But he's just doing this
some people still judge me. Some people misjudge me and they look at me as, okay, this boy is illiterate. But then I'm somebody from abroad.
All right. You see that this interview is shaping to be very, very exciting. So don't even go anywhere. It's the other news and we are still here. I'm still talking to one of Nigeria's finest artists, Falz The Bahd Guy. So yeah, Mr. Bad Guy, as we were gisting before we went on that break, you once criticized musicians who glorify 419 in their music. But today it's beginning to look like more of the music industry is being sponsored by people in the Yahoo business. What is your reaction to that?
That is true. And you know, at the time that I did it, I did it because I felt like, you know, it was the right thing that I was saying. And, you know, I don't feel like crime or criminal acts should be glorified, you know, with music. Because I feel like as artists, we're in a position of influence. You know, a lot of young people look up to us and, you know, look to us as role models. So the sort of gospel that we preach is important. And I still stand by that.
That is very, very true. In fact, if there's one thing I can say for you, you're a young man who is not afraid to make his views known. You know, and I'm sure lots of your fans like you because of that. Yes, you're well loved by fans. Talking about fans. So what makes you the bad guy?
Well, the bad guy is a bit of a title. Understand? Because the way I do operate, very slick, very smooth. And my bad guy is different because I spell it in a different manner. Okay. So BAHD. And that stands for brilliant and highly distinct.
Oh. Well done, sir. Well done, sir. All right. I want you to see this video. Then we'll come back and talk about it.
This is Nigeria. Whether Madam Philomena. Money vanish for your office, 36 million. You tossing an animal. This is Nigeria. Never any recession. When looters and killers and stealers are still contesting election. Politicians with thieves, some billion, you know they go prison. Police station they close by 6. Security reason.
That's a very good job. In fact, I think that job is actually one of our first. Now, that's one video that has generated a lot of reaction. Was that the plan?
Yes, the plan was to generate reaction, but the magnitude, you know, of reaction
was not expected.
Was not expected. I didn't foresee that, for example, P. Diddy will post on his Instagram page. Wow. That's big. Now, please don't discuss with me again because Diddy is my friend now. But
okay.
So it was definitely intended to generate some sort of reaction.
Okay, in terms of social commentary, which is what we saw a bit of it on that video, do you think artistically you did a good one? You know, did you deliver on the social commentary? At least from the reactions that you've gotten so far. Yeah, so far I think reaction so far it's been mostly positive. You know, people really like the way that I've pointed out the issues and the ills that we're facing as a country. But you know, like with everything, there will always be people that find the negative. Yeah, of course.
You know,
of course.
And people are complaining, oh, why did you use the dancers in the hijabs? For example,
that's very creative. In fact, that was one thing that stood out for me, to be very honest. That is one thing.
I thought it was pretty
because
clear.
on a lot of levels, I mean, are we saying that people who wear hijab can't be creative, can't love entertainment, they don't dance?
I think people always find a way to shoot the messenger so that they miss the message. But you know, at the end of the day, the earlier you start to pick the message and start to react accordingly.
For me, in fact, one line that really got me was police station closed by 6 for security reasons. Have your friends in the police force called you?
Not yet, but as I'm walking now, I'm washing my back. But I mean, it's stuff that we need to talk about. The insecurity issues, you know, it's horrible. You know, everybody doesn't feel secure anymore.
I hear you. So with all this creativity you're churning out, where is your music, your acting, where is it headed?
I mean, I'm just trying to be as diverse as possible. Like I said earlier, you know, we are doing this, we are doing that, we are still doing that. You know, we're branching out, different stuff. This year, I'm working on a project that is completely conscious music, you know, as we've seen from this one. You know, I'm still working on the normal stuff because every now and then, you know, understand you do that, but you still need to relax your body.
See, you know? I see you're continuing the tradition of being the spokesman for the people or the common man in quotes. Yes. But you're not a common man.
I'm a common man.
No, I mean, we live in Nigeria, so if looking at your background, we know you're not a common man. How do you easily identify with this struggle? Is it that you've been able to integrate into the system, feel the pulse of the people?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to sort of, you know, integrate yourself into the system and feel the pulse of the people. I mean, in our everyday life, we get to see, ordinary people and how, difficult things are, at the end of the day. So it's pretty easy to sort of...
So these things play out in front of us every day, so you can't even ignore it.
Exactly. And people that choose to close their eyes to that, I think they're, insensitive.
Now, there's another thing, which you touched slightly. There's so much, let's say, immorality, abuse of drugs in the society today. And in the music industry, sometimes you see the videos depict drug abuse like it's something positive. People do lots of praise songs for weed and things like that. Don't you think that, how do you see your colleagues and friends in entertainment business using their platform to improve on, this problem, these vices, bring about positive change?
Like I said earlier on, it's important for artists to realize that they have a very loud voice. Yeah. And the way that we use that voice, is the most important thing. So we need to know that we need to send out positive messages with our music. And for example, personally, I try as much as possible not to send out anything that is, negative, with my music. And I try to tell stories with my music. I try to, as much as be entertaining, educate as well, with music.
Okay. Politics is in the air. On this show, I try to keep it very, very real. Politics is in the air. 2019 is around the corner. Not too young to run, young people getting involved. Some are even saying, here I am, I want to go, vote for me, which is all interesting. You have a huge platform, like you mentioned. The voice is loud for an entertainer. What role? Our democracy is beginning to look like it's shaky again. What will the entertainer do to make sure that our democracy counts and it delivers for the people who need it the most, the so-called common man? How do we use this loud platform?
I think it's important that we encourage people that are watching us, people that are listening to us. It's very important that we encourage them to go out there and, actually influence their future, because I believe it's in our hands. Election is coming now. You can sit at home or you can complain about how everything is upside down. But if you don't actually go out there to decide who you want to be president, for example, who you want to, to win the next election, then how are you really participating in how your country is being run? I think it's important that everybody goes out there, get your PVC, register, and get ready to decide your future.
Okay, in rounding up, there's a question that I must ask.
Yeah.
I've not asked anybody on this show, but I'm going to ask you.
Jega.
I'm not asking anybody, I'm going to ask you.
Oh, yeah?
And it's a trend that I find is becoming common in your music industry.
Okay.
So is Falz going to marry or have a baby mama first?
Personally, as I'm like this, understand, I cannot really see the future. I will need to consult with the higher forces to let me know what will happen. But currently, I didn't really have plans for marriage or anything like that. I'm still a single man.
Yeah.
I get it. Maybe peradventure you may have somebody you want to link me up.
No, I'm not putting you under any kind of pressure to marry. I'm asking.
Okay.
Is it going to be marriage before the kids, or are you going to have a baby mama, then you decide to marry later? It's a trend that I'm noticing, and I'm asking.
Well, one day, I would like to be married.
Yeah.
And like I said, I will let the big man up there.
It's a nice second to you, my brother.
Nice
interview with this great guy. Please, one more time, a round of applause. Okay. Senior Children's Affairs correspondent Dan D Humorous takes us on a trip into the minds of children just in a moment. It's the other news. In this very special segment, some children bear their minds to our Senior Children Affairs correspondent, Dan D Humorous. His children say nice things. Enjoy.
Arise the corporation. Nigeria call to serve our father throne. We love and strength. Tim. But the bad heroes that shall never be even.
Tim.
To set with marks a mark. One day bound to freedom, peace and unity.
High five. Boom! Okay, now this is our special Children's Day edition, which is, of course, 2 days apart with our Democracy Day. So we decided to go into the minds of the leaders of tomorrow. Now, David, the anthem ends with peace and unity. Do we have peace and unity in Nigeria?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? How?
There's not even distribution of goods, and most times people fight because of money. So I would advise the president to make sure there's even distribution of goods in Nigeria. Then there will be peace and unity.
Wonderful. Is that correct, Favor?
Yes.
There's no peace and unity?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
People mainly fight for money and for position, like what our politicians are doing right now. I think our president should be able to stand up and at least bring our raw materials back into the country so that we can process some things, and I think it will make up money and we'll be able to find our peace and unity.
You talked about politics or politicians. What do you know about politics?
Politics is it's a form of institution where presidents, governors, and some set of high-leveled people, they fight for positions, like the president's role and the governor's role.
They fight?
Yeah.
Gabby, fighting, is it good? Fighting is not good, right? So what should we do with people that fight?
Impeach them.
Just like that. They tried it in Kogi, it didn't work. Oh.
Punch them.
Punch them! All those who fight in politics, what should we do?
Punch them.
Punch them hard with impeachment. High five again. Boom. Yes, the future is looking bright. When I was a kid, they told me that I will be the leader of tomorrow. And the leaders then are still leading. So it's like I'll be the leader of next tomorrow. That means your own leader of tomorrow is like next week.
No, it's not.
How?
Because you are saying you are the leader of tomorrow. You did not see yourself as a leader of tomorrow.
That's why I'm walking this walk.
Yes.
Oh, these children are here to finish somebody. Okay, so what will you do so that you will be the leader of tomorrow when your tomorrow comes?
Work hard and be honest.
David, what is the Nigeria of your dreams?
In Nigeria with peace and unity.
Peace and unity, okay, and Favor?
To have a great Nigeria and to make Nigeria proud.
A great Nigeria, a great nation that we can be proud of.
Yeah.
Nice, okay. What is your dream for Nigeria? You don't have dream yet? Oh yeah, sleep so that you have a dream. Sleep so that you have a dream, all right? So there you have it, Nigerians. You can see, obviously, that the generation right after us are already disappointed in us since we are disappointed in the generation in front of us. Are we really going to continue this cycle of disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, passing it on to generation after the next? Something needs to be done. And like these youngsters who are already seeing their future, parents and guardians, is in your hand to make sure you nurture these ones, admonish them, and guide them. Apparently, from what they say, as for we, our own generation, it's a lost case, but God will help us. Okay, finish this program, I beg.
Well, this brings us to the end of today's episode and also to the end of this season on The Other News, which means we'll be going on a break, to go and top up on our creative juices. A huge thank you to all our viewers. Your unstoppable commitment to this show has been beyond inspirational. You've given us an opportunity to shake things up in Nigeria, and for that, I thank you very much. Before things get too emotional, just know we won't be far. Won't be far from you. Follow us at The Other News CTV on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And we'll always be just a click away. Our people say that when you show a child the moon, It only sees your finger. Till next season, my name is Okay. I know you miss me, and I miss you too.